All right, here we go. So it's time to take that intake manifold off. And I think I'm also going to be replacing the EGR cooler down here. And also the glow plugs and a few other ancillary items, mostly gaskets and everything here, to make this pass smog again, because I've got check engine lights and smog is due. So it's time to get this going. All right, step one, disconnect battery, pop off your little felt liner. I've got both my posts off. It's time to pull the battery. We get that battery out. Then we're gonna start taking off intake plumbing, so intercoolers and the actual intake, the air box and the intake plumbing itself. All right, so this little wedge goes right down there, and this is actually the wedge that kind of holds your battery from being able to move around in the casing. So you notice when you take off your terminals and you remove the felt liner, there's nothing up top here that actually holds the battery down. It's this guy, and that little wedge goes right down there in that bolt hole, and it's a 10 millimeter. It just pops right out. It's very simple, and then you can lift your battery out, but I can't do that one-handed, so I'm gonna set the phone down. All right, so yeah, the battery's out, but it's a Jeep, so it's a little more complicated than that. We have to get at that secondary battery, and that secondary battery, we have to disconnect that as well, because we're going for a full, a full reset here. So you pop that guy out and come on. There we go. And look, there's the secondary battery. So we've got to take this guy off, and then we are truly fully disconnected with our electrical system, and we can proceed to feel safe and secure when we're doing all this work on top of the engine and disconnecting every single sensor, because we have to remove the engine harness to remove the intake manifold, as well as some of the other things that we're doing here. So the battery is now, well, I can hear it popping. Come on, wiggle out. Wiggle out, there we go. The battery is now free. And this battery is really difficult to get out because it's wedged in there so tightly that it's a battery, so it's kind of heavy. Even though it's a little tiny size battery, it's still heavy. So I got to get this guy out. It's fun. Actually, I think the way I did last time was I threaded these down, and this gave me a little extra help in lifting it. So I'll get that out, and then we move from there. Then the next thing to do is to unplug the harness here, and that way we can flip the harness. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to flip the harness onto the other side of the engine bay once everything is disconnected. But we're not there yet, so coming soon to a Jeep near you. I might as well show my little trick. So I thread this guy down, or this guy, it doesn't matter, but the truth is I prefer this one. I thread it down just enough so that I can get this in here, in between the stud and the nut, and then I just lift up, and it comes right out. And there we go. That's the easy way to take that guy out. All right, so these clamps, I haven't found a YouTube tutorial on how to undo these clamps. So the key here is you pop these open like this, yeah, and then you just pull back, and you see that it's come out of the U-shape piece here. So let me zoom in there. So you pop each end up, squeeze in, pull out, and then it pops up. And then I just push it over there, and then you can just separate that connector. That's the simple way to get those done. Next, let's take this guy off here. It's a 15 millimeter, And you're gonna wanna, where are we? There we are. You're gonna wanna pop this guy off here. And this stanchion is, this is the stanchion that's used for your engine cover that goes across. Oh, I'm still zoomed in. There we go. It goes across the engine. So this is what the engine cover bolts into, but it also holds this intake. That's a intercooler plumbing there. So we want to pop that off, remove this guy. Remove the intake. That's all out. That's all self-explanatory. I shouldn't have to explain how that works, but you know, you've got to unclip this guy. There's another one back here somewhere. There it is, that you unclip. This plumbing comes off easily. You take the top box off. I think it's a 10 millimeter or whatever this is. I'm pretty sure. Oh, that was fun. I get to find that. But I'm pretty sure it's a 10 millimeter. There it is, right there. I'll get it with a magnet. So a 10 millimeter, you take the top off, pop that out, and then you unbolt this guy and the whole bottom of the box comes out. This gives you a lot more space. I pulled this off the throttle body unit here. And next I'm gonna attack that. I think that's a T30. Which it's on there pretty good. I've already started in with the Croyle because this guy just didn't have enough torque to break those free. Again, I have 135,000 miles on this, so you know I've got a little bit of buildup on some of my plumbing here. So, and that's to be expected. That really is honestly to be expected. So I'm gonna pull off a few more things. This is coming off next, and this is the EGR tube that goes from the EGR cooler to the intake manifold. That's gonna come off, and then I just got to start unplugging everything. And once I get everything unplugged, I gotta remove this guy and remove this guy, and yeah, it smells wonderful though because I already started spraying everything with Croyle. So. Love that stuff. It's just really expensive. I reserve it for projects like this. I don't think I've even busted open a can of Croyle on the CJ7 yet. I've pulled this guy off. These are 8 mils. You can see the bottom ones are pretty dirty, and that's because let's set that down there. That's because I've got this intercooler pipe shoved down underneath these coolant hoses. This guy's pretty wet on the bottom of it, and that's kind of to be expected. But you can notice that I also have this disconnected because these bolts actually bolted into the manifold itself. So getting this guy off down here, there's a connector right down there. That is supposed to be very difficult. I will tackle that in a minute. Right now, I am trying to determine how I had this. So I believe this guy, okay, I'm just trying to remember what bolts go to what, and I believe this bolt goes here. I don't want to misplace my bolts, so I'm going to rethread them in where they were before. So here we go. I believe that's how that one goes. So then I'm still disconnecting all the different connectors throughout as I go. I know that I believe it's this vacuum line I've got to disconnect. I'm not sure how I'm going to disconnect that. I've forgotten, but I know there's a way. Maybe I disconnect it back down in here. I think that's how I disconnect it, is down in there. But I'm working my way through this here. So connector by connector. I think next I'm gonna try and pop off the EGR tube and this inlet here. I'm not sure if I actually have to take that inlet off or not. I believe I do, because that goes right into the manifold as well. So, you know, I've got I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm doing here that I'm just trying to take my time at. And that's my recommendation, is just take your time at this. This is something that requires introspective thought as you kind of disconnect everything. Try and remember where everything goes. My brain usually is good enough to remember where everything goes, so I don't usually label things. But if you forget easily, I definitely would recommend labeling everything. Here we are. Bolts are free on this, and we need to pull this out. And I'm pretty sure this is gonna look terrible. Oh no, I still haven't gotten that one. Never mind, hold on. Take a break. This guy's gotta come out. I got the bolt out, and we gotta rotate that out, and let's see what this looks like. Hey, that is not anywhere near as bad as some of the others I've seen come out. Nowhere near as bad. Man, I'm kind of stoked about that. Throttle body's out. I still haven't taken this line off yet. And all the other tutorials that I've seen, they take this off earlier. But I was actually able to get the throttle body out with this connected still, which allowed me to disconnect it pulled up. You know, instead, some of the guys are trying to disconnect it with it still wedged down in here, and I don't know what they were thinking, but that's definitely a no-go for me. I was able to get it out and kind of squeeze it out past this line, because this line's got a little flex, and disconnect it. This little yellow lock tang looks like it broke. I'm not sure if there's supposed to be a little yellow piece there. I assume there is. But, you know, I knew there was going to be a little bit of carnage in all of this. I think kind of the key to being able to get it out of there is to get this, you know, some of the guys don't remove this plate from the harness. But if you remove this plate from the harness, you got a ton of wiggle room where you can kind of manipulate this all out of the way to be able to wiggle this out. And I'm not kidding, there's like a millimeter worth of clearance right here on this area right here in between this and the motor itself. So it's possible. It's totally possible. So that's done. On to the next. Fuel rail lines off. You can see them over there. I use these guys. These are from Astro Pneumatic. These are tools designed for diesel fuel rail lines. Next thing I'm going to do here, so I've got this side off. I still haven't pulled the harness all the way off. That's because I've got to pull the glow plugs next. So, yep, that's, I'm going to pull the fuel lines off this side, and then I'm going to pull the glow plugs out. I'm about 2 hours and 15 minutes or so into this with, you know, neighbors stopping by and talking to me, because I'm doing this in my driveway. Yeah, my wife really wants me to take down the Halloween stuff, but I'm not so sure about that. I don't think I'll have time for that this weekend. So anyways, I still have to get this back line off that connects the two rails. I've got to pull that off. But I believe in order to really gain access to that fitting back there, it's probably easiest if I just go ahead and pull the glow plugs now. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the glow plugs and then get that back rail off. And then really, I mean, this harness has got to come off now. It's time for it to come off. I still haven't figured out exactly how to get this. I know that this is all kind of unclipped there. I don't know if this just pops up here or if there's another bolt holding it in somewhere over here. Haven't figured that part out yet, but I will. So this bracket is basically just kind of hanging in there because I was trying to move it around so that I had access to the EGR tube on the manifold. Then I moved it around to have access to this, and you know, now I got to move it out of the way to have access to the glow plug. So this is kind of a pain, but it won't come out until that glow plug comes out because it's kind of wedged underneath this. So again, just keep working at it. I was able to get that back fuel line rail nut broken loose with this specialty tool. It's, you know, a common diesel fuel rail specialty tool. You can find it anywhere. And that back line, so interesting enough, on other diesels, you know, all the videos that I've watched are all Dodge Rams and Grand Cherokees. So none of them had this foam on that line, which was interesting. So there's that. Just a point of reference. All the glow plug connectors came off nice and easy. Use Croyle, it's your friend. It's definitely your friend. So next, I really have to get this harness off. Now is time to get the harness off. So I got to figure out what I'm doing wrong there. There's two connectors that I still need to get. That's this one on the back of the rail there. And there's another one somewhere I forgot. But I got these vacuum lines off here, off of this sensor. You know, just use a pick and go at it slowly. Where's that other connector? I can't remember where it was now, but it was definitely not in a very forgiving position, just like that one. So yeah, that's going to be a whole load of fun to try and get off. I'm still not sure if I need to remove this or not. I don't believe I do. Looks like I can just shoehorn this intake manifold right back in there. So that's a plus. But, you know, almost there. Really happy about how all this is going. I'm about 2.5 hours in now. So, yeah, wish me luck. All right, I've been struggling for the better part of about 20 minutes on this. So I've got this fuel rail out. These specialty tools, these guys, where is it? Everything's kind of a mess because when I start to get frustrated, I don't bother putting stuff away. What's cool about these is it's got a ball end on one end. And this slides in pretty well. The depth of this is just enough to get in between the manifold and the fuel rail. So that's out, and that's great. That's fantastic. I've got everything disconnected off of this except for this plug on the alternator. I broke the safety on it, and this piece has also kind of snapped a bit. It's still good. Connection's still there, but I can't seem to get that to disconnect. I've got this specialty plier, but it just doesn't seem to be getting the job done, and it's really starting to frustrate me. So I've got to do a little investigatory work, i.e. stop taking this video, flip it over to, you know, camera mode where it just takes a photo, and take a photo of that from the other side. So, because I can't actually see that connector. So I'm just kind of digging at it blind, and I'm tired of digging at it blind. But we're really, really close here to having the intake manifold out. And I would really like to have the intake manifold out and the glow plugs out by the end of this evening. The sun is going down. I really got to get this done, and then I can kind of clean up, and tomorrow morning I'll come out and I'll pop that EGR cooler off, pop that turbo cooler line off, and then replace that, replace the EGR cooler, replace the glow plugs and the manifold, get everything back together, and hopefully be driving it by tomorrow night if I didn't screw that plug up. So wish me luck. I have a work light out now. All the bolts are out of the manifold. Something very interesting that I found. There is a bolt that the dealership, when the dealership did the work on this, they left a bolt right down there. Because they had to replace the fuel rails and the fuel lines when the fuel pump went out. So yeah, good job dealership. I got a free bolt out of this. All this for a free bolt. All right. Okay, next is to pop that intake manifold out and get that sucker out of here. Transfer some sensors. Get those. So I'm gonna get that intake off and get the glow plugs out tonight. Probably maybe work on that turbo coolant line. Maybe. We'll see if I can get it. I've got to get that heat shielding out over there before I get that turbo coolant line to get in place. So we'll see. We'll see what I can tackle. I mean, it's getting dark. I do not like to work in the dark. I'm already very frustrated. I screwed up the plug for the alternator, trying to get it to disconnect. It's over here in this mess somewhere. Because the alternator down there, you've got to unplug that, and a few other things that are down in the fender well. Oh yeah, my daughter. I have an 8-year-old daughter who loves to practice on me, and I don't care because the stuff chips right off already. I mean, you can see it's already coming off, and she just did it last night. But anyways, yeah, some of the harness that goes down and under, thankfully I already have my fender well liners off because I did the fender chop about a month ago, and I'm still waiting on the fender liners from Cab Fab. So, but I like I like the look of their fender liners. I like the way it installs. So anyways, back to this. Let's get that manifold off, get those glow plugs out, and see if I can't get that turbo coolant hose now. All right, the moment of truth here. The moment of truth. Let's go. Come on. Up and off. And let's take a look at this. So, it's throwing squirrel valve codes like crazy. Hey, man, that does not look as bad as I was thinking it was. That does not look as bad as I was thinking it was. That is excellent. So let's get this off. Oh man, I am so stoked. It's coked up, but it's nothing as bad as I thought it was. Hey, that's awesome. But you know, I did have a swirl valve check engine light, so needed to make it happen. Uh-oh, somebody not paying attention there. Yeah, all right, let's get this off. Hey, yeah, man, I'm feeling even better about this. I may not even replace that EGR cooler if this is the case, because it doesn't look that bad. All right. I thought I was replacing the manifold because it was just coked up with carbon deposits. But this is why I'm replacing the manifold. This swirl valve is toast. So I'm assuming that this guy right here is toast, or the actuator that connects these two here, right here. It looks like that's all wallered out. Whereas you can see this has got a little buildup on it, but not much. But look at that. Versus, you know, I don't want to touch this. These barely move. I don't want to touch this. Let me get another get another paper towel here. So versus these guys that, you know, they move together and there's no play in them, right? Whereas this guy, oh, drop that. This doesn't even match. Oh man, you can't force it to move. And this one, you can't force it to move either. So hopefully this is all right. I'm hoping that's all right, because I did not order one of those. So let's hope that's all right. Let's just, maybe it's the gear is bad or something. We're about to find out. It's definitely the rods that are, something's wrong with this guy. So you can see the butterflies doing it on the on one side, but they're not moving on the other. So it's bolted down, and it's a T25 for the fasteners. And this is basically ready to go in the truck. So DISA valve code, I automatically assumed it was just so coked up that that the valves wouldn't open and close. And that's not the case. The case is the shaft, I believe, is broken over here. There's a little tiny shaft. You can remove these little center caps here and pull everything apart. And maybe I'll do a different video about that on how to delete your swirl valves. But I'm not deleting them on my truck. Everything's emissions compliant on mine. So, but you know, maybe someday when smog regulations change or something happens, or you know, I'll put on a Banks manifold or something fun. But as it stands right now, I know why this. I was throwing that DISA or not DISA, the swirl valve code, DISA valve. Yeah, I've owned a few BMWs. So yeah, I mean, this job has been worth it. It's been a bitch, and I did kind of booger up the plug for the alternator, but I have a fix for it, and it'll be fine when I'm done. So yeah, next is the glow plugs, but it's pretty dark outside, and I really don't like working in the dark. So I'll probably pop out the glow plugs and then clean up my tools and be done with it for this evening. It's a bitch of a job, truthfully, but I got to where I am at now a lot faster than I expected, and I do not have a lot of buildup on the manifold. There just isn't a bunch. You can see there is some, but it's nowhere near as bad as I was expecting it to be. The difference, though, is this. And this is why, if you notice, none of the valves are turning on that side. See? That's why I was getting a DISA valve code. So, I mean a swirl valve code. So the swirl valve on this bank just isn't functioning anymore, and I'm assuming you can see that the rod here is not rotating. You know, there's a shaft there that's not rotating, and I'm assuming that it's broken down here, or maybe it's just broken right there. But regardless, this functions, and it'll go in tomorrow morning. I honestly, if I can get this stuff done right, then it's great. And it also means that I don't need to replace the EGR cooler. It's just not as bad as I thought it was. It really isn't. I'm super stoked about this, like super stoked. I do have the replacement fuel lines to put in, and truthfully, it's just, dude, so much of it is trying to decipher how the wiring harness is put on. Also, I don't have to replace this hose. This hose doesn't exist on my generation EcoDiesel. They've re-engineered it under the intake manifold, and I don't have this potential problem because they don't even have a soft line hose in there. It's a full hard line hose that runs through there. There's nothing to replace. I can recoup some cost because, you know, that wasn't cheap. So that's all positive. And I'm gonna try and resell that EGR valve or that EGR cooler because I don't need it. I just don't need it. I'm not gonna do the job. And I just killed a mosquito that landed on my phone. Good morning. Good so last night I left off on the video showing the that this, you know, these swirl valves just aren't connected. This bank here is just, this shaft is not rotating in here, while this one does. If you can see that it connects. So curious to pull that apart. Probably won't, but maybe in another video I'll pull it apart and kind of figure out what exactly went wrong, and And I mean, it's just, these are little cam caps here. So if you pull out the gasket, then you can pull out these individual little bridges here. They're just little plastic bridges there. And then you can slowly remove, you've got to remove this guy off of here and this guy off of here. And then you can slowly like pull the rod out. And as you pull it out, you can remove the actual butterflies off of the rod there. And then I can kind of figure out what's going on here, why this isn't working versus this one is working. But maybe I'll do that in a different video, just so that we can figure out why it's not working. But in that same video, it'll probably give you an idea on how to eliminate the swirl valves. You know, if somebody has a predilection towards getting rid of swirl valves for some reason, if they wanted to. All right, it's morning time, and pardon my mess here. I've already got a globe plug out, and so I didn't sleep well last night. And I didn't sleep well last night because I just, you know, it got later into the evening, and I don't like to work at dark, and I started making stupid decisions, and so in one of those stupid decisions wasn't pulling that bolt that I found there, wasn't pulling it out right away. I left it there, and then I pulled the intake manifold. And in my last video, I probably talked about, putting some rags in there so that nothing falls in there and all of those things. So, and then I went and just left that bolt there, which of course kept me up at night because, I don't know a single person who doesn't have some kind of introspective, nightly review of their day to kind of go over the highs and lows. And in doing that myself, I remembered there was a bolt sitting there. And what am I going to do at 1 o'clock in the morning? Come out here, get dressed, come out here and attempt to find the bolt. And if I found the bolt, that's awesome, but I'm dressed. It's 1 in the morning. I'm super jacked up and excited that I found the bolt. Or do I come out here and not find the bolt and flip out, and it's too late to work on it at night. I don't like working on stuff at night. I don't see very well at night. I make poor decisions at night. And so then, I don't sleep because I got to figure out how I'm going to find that bolt. It just drops straight into the cylinder head. So hopefully I could get a magnet in there or something. But anyways, I got up this morning. I got the ladies all situated. I made my coffee and breakfast for my wife, and breakfast for my daughter, and breakfast for myself, and got everybody up, took care of the dog, tried to keep myself calm, came out here, opened the hood, found the bolt, super elated, but also, kind of pissed at myself for not just grabbing that bolt right away when I saw it. So here's my mess. All the tools that I used yesterday. There's the new and the old fuel rails, or fuel lines are in there. I think the fuel rails are in the bed of the truck. And here's some of the plumbing that happens. This guy, I'm gonna clean this up. It's nowhere near as caked up and gooey and nasty as I thought it was gonna be. I'm actually pretty stoked about the condition. I thought it was gonna be a lot worse. This, I just wiped it clean. It came pretty clean. I'm gonna hose it down with some mass airflow cleaner later. And then I'm gonna clean this guy. There's a little bit of oily residue in there, just a little bit, not a whole lot. So that'll clean up nice and easy. I'm just gonna clean everything real quick. It shouldn't take much. It should be pretty straightforward. Yes, that's the Steer Smart's tie rod and drag link for my Gladiator. I don't know if I'll have time for that today, but more important today is, if I do have time, I need to take care of what's in those boxes. I've got brakes for that truck and they need to happen. and I'm going on a week-long camping trip on Tuesday. So I still got some wrenching to do. So, okay, let's get to it. It's about 9:30 in the morning. Yesterday, I wrenched for a total of 4 hours and 15 minutes, and I got almost everything off that I really needed to do. I still need to undo remove the glow plugs, get those glow plugs out of here, and then put the new glow plugs in. So that's the next step. I'm gonna probably hit it with one more shot of Croil around the glow plugs just to make sure, because I know that these can be a supreme pain in the rear to get out. At least on other diesels that I've worked on, they can be a supreme pain in the rear. The other thing that I'm really, really stoked about is I do not see that same turbo coolant hose that the second generation diesels, 3.0 diesels have. It doesn't exist in here. And to me, I think that is just freaking awesome, man. I'm super stoked about that. So this line here is the hard line. So that means our turbo is slightly different than the second gen, or at least the housing is slightly different and the plumbing for it. And that's all good news. I'm super happy about that. So I can probably return that, because I think I bought that on Amazon. The EGR cooler, man, I'm pretty sure it's probably just fine. You know, like there is no huge massive buildup in there. Yeah, my finger came out dirty. It is an EGR cooler, but it's way cleaner than I thought. And maybe this is all attributed to the fact that I use an additive regularly in my fuel. I'm constantly using a fuel additive, like a cetane booster, and here in the state of California. So I don't know. What product is it? I started on Doc's Diesel cetane boost, and then I switched over to the Arc Oil product line. And I don't know. I can't tell the difference between the two, but I can see I can see the results, and that's what makes me really happy. Back to this mess. So everything's all cleaned up. I used a little acetone to clean off the surfaces there, and I pulled out. So not only did I find a spare bolt, but I found the tail end of a zip tie down there. Hey, how's it going? My neighbor's out. The kid's running a cart. That's pretty cool. Hey, look at that. Zoom. So, yeah. There was a spare bolt and the tail end of a zip tie. The spare bolt was sitting right there. I pointed it out a few times. Thankfully, I found it this morning after me fretting all night long over it. But, all right, so now it's time to get this guy reinstalled on this guy. So you go here, yeah, you clip on here, and then this harness clips into this point here and another point. So we're on reassembly. However, I gotta wait for the Jeep dealerships to open up tomorrow morning for glow plugs. Second gen EcoDiesel glow plugs do not work on third gen EcoDiesel glow plugs. Pro tip, connect that connector before you place the throttle body in, of course. And to me, it's the opposite of the pro tip. When you're removing this, remove the throttle body with the cable connected still, and then disconnect it. Trust me, some of the online tutorials tell you different, but it literally was no fuss fighting or anything. It's a very tight fit, but it comes right out. So definitely take that into consideration. And here I find myself with the work light on. The sun is setting, and I hate working at night. So I guess this is where we sit. This is probably where I'm gonna finish up. I don't think there's really anything else I'm gonna do here. I can't get the fuel rails in yet, or the fuel lines, because those will block the access to the, you know what, will they? I don't know. I bet I'm gonna double check. I may end it here right now because I'm not sure if the fuel rail blocks this or not. I'm beginning to think it doesn't. I think the fuel rail sits right up here. But regardless, I've got to have access, and the fuel rail is going to block my. Yeah, I'm ending it here. This is where I'm going to end it. So, all right, this is where it ends today. 8 a.m. I'm going to be calling my local Jeep dealership and praying that they honor online prices, because Jesus Christ, those injectors are expensive. Well, as you can see, I've got a new glow plug in there. 2 hours later of driving to 3 different dealerships here in the Bay Area, I've got all 6 new glow plugs. These guys get torqued to 11 foot-pounds. And now I can resume putting this poor old girl back together. Oh my goodness. What a weekend of trials and tribulations. So I'm getting this guy back together, or girl, or whatever, you know, I don't care. It's a truck. It's a good work truck. I love this thing. Anyways, getting this back together, and then yeah, maybe if I have enough time and if the registers check over quick enough on this truck, I can get it smogged today and get my tags. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Who knows? I have confidence in my craftsmanship. I'm just not sure that I will just be physically fast enough to make that happen. But I'm gonna try. And I got my brakes done yesterday. I still need to compile that and turn that into a video. When I'm all done with this, I will make a video and post this on YouTube. So I'm pretty happy with how things are. The only thing is that I really boogered up this connector. I'm gonna have to do some temporary fixes and then get one from a wrecking yard or something along those lines, because I'm pretty sure that this guy is not in good shape. It tested resistance wise okay, and I can kind of get this plug back into place like this and maybe silicone it down into place or something. But you can see I really scored it up with the pliers just trying to get it to disengage. It really did not want to disengage. This one was really stuck. And sometimes when I'm chasing after a goal, I forget about certain tricks. And one of the tricks when a connector like this is just really giving you hell, put some interior trim detail on it, and it softens the plastic up. And that will usually do it. But I was not thinking, and I went after it, and this is the result. So I'm gonna have to kind of cobble this together and make it work. And then later on, I'll get a wrecking yard to just nip this off for me here, and then I can splice it, and I'll have a new one in place, and it'll be fine. But as it stands, here we go. Like the harness is ready to kind of flop back on after I torque those glow plugs down. So we've got our glow plugs are in place. You can see them down there. Okay, those are in place. They're torqued in. Our fuel rails are in place. They're torqued in. And the next step is fuel lines. And with fuel lines comes the harness over. And once the harness is over, then it's on like Donkey Kong. So this is getting good. Here's the EGR tube that goes from the EGR cooler to the manifold. And as you can see, I've cleaned it up. And it was nowhere near as bad as I thought it was. So I'm really happy about that. And I mean that genuinely. Like this, if I hadn't got a bunch of wrong parts for this would have gone very easily. I would have been done with it this would have been about a 6-hour job for me. But it wasn't. And some days and some jobs just kind of go that way. So next time I'm not going to trust Rock Auto. Kind of a bummer because they've been rock solid for me so far. And she runs. I didn't really take a video of anything else. Yeah, so she's running. A little bit hard on the start, but that's normal because there's no fuel in the fuel lines, and she's ticking away like a diesel should. Yep. And now I gotta make it to my daughter's play. So let me clean up real quick and then I gotta head on out.